Hey guys, you're listening to the English Made Simple show. This is episode number 191, number 191, número 191. Welcome amigos y amigas, welcome to the English Made Simple show. My name is Milena from EnglishMadeSimple.net, EnglishMadeSimple.net, and here we are again, here we are. What's happening with you guys? Where was I? I'm a bit late again this week to release this episode. Well, there are some changes happening at home, here in my home. We are moving again. It's not a big move, just moving neighborhoods. We are moving from one suburb to another suburb. So probably next month we're gonna officially move. But if I release an episode later than normal, it's because I'm packing or cleaning, okay? Just letting you know in advance. So yes, this whole moving is a nuisance and it's very inconvenient. But what can we do? We don't do this every day. So last month we talked about immigration and more specifically moving to Australia. I also had a guest. We spoke with Soraya from Chile, who helps you obtain a student visa to Australia so you can come here and study. The best and easy way to really experience Australia, in my opinion. You can listen to that episode and the previous episode to that. Just to remind you, those two episodes were number 188 and number 190, the previous episode, that will help you understand how to make the move across the ocean, across the 7 seas, and get to Australia. Cool bananas. And now we are on to the new topic today. New topic. I get numerous emails from my listeners telling me how much they enjoy listening to the English Made Simple show and how it helps them learn English from home. They don't necessarily want to move anywhere, so most of you don't want to move anywhere, but most of the listeners are happy to listen to the show at home in their own country, just because they love the language, which is cool. So how can you learn English from home or by yourself? And I'm really curious, are you using everything at your disposal to assist you with your learning? There are so many things you can do actually to start learning any language from home nowadays. But back in my day, when I was 15 years old, long time ago, I remember when I was learning Italian. I think we just moved to New Zealand. As a family, we moved to New Zealand. And I really fell in love with the Italian language because of the singer, Eros Ramazzotti. And I know that most Italians listening are probably thinking, why, Milan? Why did you listen to this? Anyway, I loved listening to his songs and I really wanted to find out what he was singing about. Obviously, I didn't speak Italian. And guess what? When I was 15 years old, we didn't have the internet at home. All right? I know, it's shocking. Can you imagine life without internet? It sounds like I've grown up in a cave somewhere. In the medieval times, no internet. Anyway, I don't know how people live without the internet, but we did manage, and I didn't have Google back then, so I couldn't Google things. There was no Veon Inteligente back then. So what did I do to start learning the language? Well, I chose one song by Eros Ramazzotti, the singer, and I tried to remember every word he sang. I didn't have the Italian dictionary handy, it wasn't available to me, but I did sign up at a local library, and I went to the library every weekend. I used to take the books out, anything related to Italian, got the books in Italian. I also found the Italian dictionary there, so yay! And what I did was basically translate every word in the song and figure out the meaning of each word. What I didn't know at the time was that I was building my vocabulary. Maybe I couldn't understand the sentences, but at least I was able to build my vocabulary of these foreign words. So yeah, I wasn't able to speak the language, but I had built up enough vocabulary to get the gist of a conversation. And what this means is to understand what people were talking about. So if I heard some Italians talking amongst themselves, I could understand what they were talking about. I was able to follow a conversation, but I couldn't speak the language properly. All I needed was someone to practice with, like a teacher or a friend, for example. But back then in New Zealand, we didn't have anybody. So I was just doing it at home by myself. Talking to myself, really, in Italian. All right. And that's how I learned English too. I applied the same principles with English. I was really into heavy metal as well. I know you can't mix heavy metal and Eros Ramazzotti. That's two different things, way different things. So I listened to a lot of rock and roll. I was into Metallica and Megadeth, and I really liked this type of music back then. And I had a dictionary. I had the English dictionary. My mom had that since 1970s, 1960s. And I started to translate every word in their songs, in, let's say, Metallica songs. I tried to translate every word that I saw. Again, I grew my dictionary, I grew my vocabulary, I should say, and started to feel more confident understanding what the songs were about. I guess that was really important to me. I really wanted to understand what the songs were about. Although some of those words cannot be used in an everyday conversation, okay? You can't talk to everybody. You can't use those words with anybody. Metallica songs, So the vocabulary I had was not useful for an everyday conversation. The lyrics are a bit dark, okay? Nonetheless, still useful, okay? So that was back then. Now let's fast forward to 2018. Let's fast forward to the future. All right, so what do you guys do now when you're learning English from home? Here's what you can do to learn English from home. Maybe you haven't considered the following things that I want to share with you. So I've got 9 things to share with you. Okay, this is what I've come up with. So you can try doing this at home if you want to learn English from home. So number 1, you can find some books, read books. You can read an ebook. You have that option now on the internet. Or read magazines in English. Number 2, what you can do is read a blog post in English. So find something that you really like and find a blog article that you can read. If you like reading stuff online, that is. I normally get a headache after I look at the screen for too long. I'm a bit old-fashioned. I like to hold a book in my hand and read it. Okay, number 3, listen to a podcast such as this one. Right? You listen to English Made Simple. That'll help you. Listen to any podcast, really. In English, that is. I listen to some podcasts in Spanish. That helps me maintain my Spanish. Right. Number 4, what you can do is watch YouTube videos. Right. Not a novel idea, but still you can do this. Again, for me, this would really give me a headache after, looking at the screen for too long. And some people prefer visual things. Some people prefer videos, which is cool. Number 5, what you can do to learn English from home is attend a meetup. I think I mentioned this before in one of my earlier episodes. I think that was number 7 or number 26, 2 years ago. Can't remember now. My memory failed me. Radio, meetup.com. I will leave the links anyway in the notes so you can check that out. What you can also do with Meetup is form a group, create a group that attracts like-minded people who want to learn the language with you, right? So number 6, what did I say here? Form a group with your friends, all right? Not just strangers, but with your friends who are also learning the language. You can meet at a cafe and only speak in English for 1 hour. I know it can be really exhausting if you go over an hour. You'll get a headache too. Number 7, what you can do is listen to the music in English. Just like me, listen to Metallica, right? Listen to Justin Bieber, whatever tickles your fancy, whatever you prefer. Number 8, what you can do is sign up for a video course. You can sign up for some online courses. You can do stuff online, buy some audio courses. Depends what you like to do. And number 9, what you can do is download an audio book. Audiobooks are really popular nowadays. I think, is it Kindle? Does Kindle provide audio version? I know Kindle is, you can buy ebooks on Kindle, which is kind of like electronic books. You can read on an iPad, for example. You can find it on Amazon. And there we have it. So many choices, amigos y amigas. So many choices. You guys are so spoiled. You have so many choices now to learn any language you want from home. No excuses. But you should really find something that suits your personality. So if you're a bubbly person, somebody who likes to chat and, who has a bubbly personality, someone who likes to socialize and meet new people, you might want to attend a meetup and meet some strangers and speak in English. Or you can meet with native speakers that way. Or even better, you can start a meetup. I think I mentioned that one too. So just go to meetup.com and create a group for yourself. You can run a group by yourself too, in your local area. I am the sort of person who likes to multitask. So if I'm doing the dishes, I would be listening to a podcast. When I go out for a walk, I would listen to a podcast. I would listen to an audio. So I'd like to do 2 things at the same time. I don't like to stand still and watch a video for 20 minutes. I get bored after 5 minutes of watching. And, this is just me. This is how I like to absorb information. So what I'm trying to say is find your style and figure out what works best for you. Now, how do you like to absorb information? How do you like to absorb information? I keep saying the word absorb. It's probably a new word for you guys, absorb. What I mean by that is take in information or digest information. Where is Weon Inteligente? He has been missing in action. My husband asked me the other day, how come you don't mention Weon Inteligente anymore? I haven't heard you mention Weon Inteligente. Well, I only call on him when I really need him. I mean the Weon Inteligente. Anyway, like now, for example. So the word absorb. According to Weon Inteligente, to absorb means to take in or soak up a liquid. Like water, for example. So let's imagine, okay, you're drinking water or Coca-Cola, whatever you like, in the kitchen, and you spill some of it on the floor. And now you have water or Coca-Cola on the kitchen floor, all spilled. So what you can do in that case is grab a sponge and clean the floor with a sponge. When you clean the floor with a sponge, it will absorb all the liquid from the kitchen floor. Okay, that's the word absorb. I tried to describe it in this way. So the sponge will absorb all the liquid from the kitchen floor. Does that make sense? Great. So I use the word absorb, which means I absorb information. I was trying to be too clever, actually. Too clever. Right. So I hope that makes sense. For those of you who are new to the show, I just want to say I use the phrase Weon Inteligente to describe an online dictionary. If you are from the Spanish-speaking backgrounds, you might find this extremely hilarious. But don't worry if you're not. I will always remind you that Weon Inteligente means online dictionary, right? Cool bananas. And we are approaching the end of the show. Before we finish, I'd like to say hello to a couple of people. I'd like to say hello to Dion from Brazil, who has been learning English from home. I have to say, for someone who has been learning it by themselves, Dion writes really well. Dion wrote such a long email, nice email, and writes really well in English. Well done, Dion, and keep going. Also, a big hello to Pancho. Pancho left a 5-star review in iTunes. He's enjoying the content, he's enjoying the podcast, and is now following English Made Simple on YouTube. He loves it. Awesome. Thank you, Pancho. Thanks very much. Muchas gracias. Wow. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, everybody. You can't see me, but I'm doing my happy dance at home all by myself. If you have an iPhone and are listening to this episode on your iPhone, can I please ask you to take a spare minute, and leave a 5-star review in iTunes? It should be pretty easy to do, it won't take too much of your time, and it will really help me keep going with the podcast. Excellent. So before I go, think about what is your style of learning, okay, guys? Think about how you like to learn a language, okay? In this case, we're talking about English. So how do you like to learn English? How do you like to learn a language? Thanks for listening, amigos y amigas. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the English Made Simple show. You've been jamming with Milena from English Made Simple. Until next time, hasta la próxima.